Did I read a lot of books in the month of January? No. But I did read some, so, better than nothing. Better than the last few months. Hey howdy, welcome back to my channel. My name is Avery Jam, and today I am here to wrap up the books that I read in the month of January. I did not get a ton of reading done in January, but I did get some done, and a lot of the books that I read were bigger books than what I usually read, so I'm still pretty pleased with how many I was able to finish. I read 5 books, and I will be telling you all of my thoughts and my ratings on them. I want to start out the video just by showing you my new reading journal that I got. The reading journal. I've been using it to track all the books I've read. It has like a main page for, all the books that you read, and then it has other pages that go more in depth on each book. That have like little reviews and places to write quotes and stuff and more information about the book. And I just really am enjoying it. It's got a bunch of other little pages as well that you can write stuff on, like your books to read and a daily reading tracker. So it's just got a ton of really great things. I will leave the link to it in the description if you're interested in picking one up. I think it's been very helpful, and it's just a nice way to keep track of my reading without me having to actually set up the journal for it. So that's what I've been keeping track of my reading in. The first book that I read this month I listened to on audiobook, and that is We Thought We Knew You by M. William Phelps. This is a true crime book that I saw in Barnes & Noble and was interested in picking up, so I picked it up at my library on the Libby app and listened to it on there. The book is about a woman who goes to work one morning feeling totally fine, and then by the time she gets home, she's really sick. She's throwing up a lot. She's throwing up all night continually for 24 hours and just is suddenly really sick, and so her husband takes her to the emergency room, and in the emergency room, she dies within 24 hours. She was brought back to life. I believe it's like 13 different times, but eventually they just aren't able to bring her back, and she dies. And whenever anyone dies in the hospital, within 24 hours, they usually send their body to autopsy to make sure there's nothing weird going on. And so her body got sent to autopsy, and when it got sent to autopsy, they found out she had been poisoned, and she was poisoned by a very rare chemical that is found in a medicine that is used to treat gout. And so she worked in a chiropractic clinic. It was a chiropractic clinic that her and her husband owned, and so immediately the husband was suspected, but come to find out that it is actually the girlfriend of her son that poisoned her, and she was also poisoning the son as well, just in much smaller doses that were non-lethal. And none of that is a spoiler, because this book very much centralizes on the girlfriend. Her name is Katie. One of my biggest complaints about this book is this book does not look at this crime objectively at all. It looks at it from the fact that Katie did it, and this is how she did it, and this is what happened, and that's the only option. It doesn't give a lot of or any other really theories into what could have potentially happened, even though there are other theories surrounding the husband and the son. I personally do believe that she did it. I believe that she committed the crime and poisoned this woman, and I do believe that she should go to prison for it. And I believe she is in prison right now for the crime, but there is a movement to free her because some people believe she is innocent. I personally do not believe she's innocent, but I think it would have been nice to still get that other sort of look at the crime. I like true crime books that have more of an all-encompassing view, and this one really didn't. It really was a one-track sort of, here's why she did it, and this is the person who did it. One thing that I found really interesting about this book is just how easy it was for her to get the drugs online. This is a highly regulated drug, and she managed to buy it online through the chiropractic clinic just by giving them the owners' names. Pretty much, she just had to give them their information, and she got it sent right to the clinic, and they had no issue. She had no issue getting her hands on it. And she was able to buy it with like a gift card, a $100 Visa gift card or something like that. And so I was shocked by just how easy it was for her to get a hold of this extremely regulated drug from the internet. because it really was not a challenge at all for her. The thing I liked about this book was that this crime happened very recently. I think it was back in 2017 or 2018, like it just happened, and she just went to prison. And so that's a lot more recent than a lot of the true crime books I read, so I thought that was interesting just to read a book about such a recent crime. I gave We Thought We Knew You 3 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read in the month of January was one of my favorite books of the year, I already know, and that was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I've talked about this book so many times on this channel already because it was on my TBR for months and I just didn't get around to it, and I finally got around to it last month, and oh my god, you guys, it was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful book. I marked so many quotes and pages in it that I just thought were absolutely beautifully written and just the best of V.E. Schwab, really. I mean, obviously I love all of her other books, but this one is different and it's much slower paced. Henry has my whole heart. That boy is the love of my life, and I just fell in love with his character and this book, and I felt so much for the things Henry was feeling, even more than I think I felt for Addie, even though Addie was an amazing character as well, and I loved hearing about her past and all the different things that she had done, and I thought that was really interesting, but Henry just really stole the show for me. Boys in bookstores with broken hearts are like my weakness, truly my weakness, so I absolutely loved him as a character. Like always, V. Schwab has beautiful writing. I was so impressed, just like I am with every book of hers that I read, and I just loved it. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. So another thing I really liked about this book was their little bit of playing with the fourth wall, like I'm not going to give anything away because I don't want to give away spoilers, but just the way that the story of Addie LaRue gets told and kind of the way that it gets... I can't really mention this without spoiling the book, so I won't spoil it, but I like that they played with the fourth wall a little bit and sort of the creation of the book. I think that was really cool, and this book broke my heart, and it will definitely be a favorite of 2021, even though, you know, it's the first 5-star of the year. It was one of my faves for sure. I gave The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I read this as an ebook. I wanted to pick it up because I had heard great things about it. I had heard that it was really creepy. Obviously, I love horror, creepy kind of books, so I was really excited to pick it up, and I did really like it. I think a lot of people are upset because it wasn't scary, like they wanted a scary horror book, and this isn't that. It's definitely more of an ambiance-driven book, which I personally really enjoyed. I thought the Gothic setting was great. I thought the house setting was great. I thought the characters were really cool. There was very creepy imagery throughout. I should say what Mexican Gothic is about. Mexican Gothic is about a girl who is sent a letter from her cousin that is very troubling, saying that she is stuck in the house of her husband and there are hauntings and something is going on. And so she is sent to go check on her cousin. She's sent to the house to see how she's doing and find out kind of what's wrong, and the story goes from there. They had very creepy imagery, very great characters. The only issue I really had was with the pacing. It seemed like things were very slow in the first half, and then all of a sudden everything happened at once, which I would have liked it to be a little bit more spread out, like the discoveries and the twists to be a little more spread out instead of all just in that one chunk of explanation. And I never thought I would read a book where mushrooms were the antagonist, so that was definitely fascinating and an interesting choice. I thought it was really good, and there was a lot of great quotes from that one as well that I marked and wrote down in my journal. I gave Mexican Gothic 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read in the month of January was our book club book for my book club that I do with some of my friends from work, and that was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This was one that I wanted to get to last year, but I didn't get a chance to get to last year. I finally got to it this year, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so good. I'm just gonna say a lot of the things that people have probably already said about this book. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle is a book about a man who wakes up in the body of a different person every day and is trying to solve a murder by living each day through a different person and sort of gathering all the pieces together. I won't give you much more information than that because I think this book is the best to go into very blindly and not knowing a lot. That's what I went into. How I went into it was not really knowing anything specific about the story, and I thought that was absolutely the way to go. The reveals are great. I guessed one of the big twists, but not both of them. So I give it an A+ for that, for having a good, actually surprising twist, because you know how I am always guessing the twists. This had a fantastic non-linear plot line, which I just absolutely loved, the bouncing back and forth in time and characters, and it just was so fascinating and so original, and it was paced really well, and I just thought the whole thing was really fantastic. Like, I have absolutely no complaints about this book. But this book really made me want to pick up some more really twisty kind of mystery thriller books. It just made me hungry for more, and I also really want to pick up Stuart Turton's other book, A Devil in the Dark Water, because I know it is kind of supposed to be the same similar mystery style book. And so I would be really excited to read that one as well. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. That was my second 5 out of 5 stars for the year. We already have 2 5 stars and we're only a month in, so things can only go up from here. And the last book that I just wanted to talk about quickly, because I am not actually totally finished with it yet. I'm planning on finishing it up today, but I did want to get this video filmed. And that is The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. This was my book of the month. I have about a little less than 100 pages left in it that I'm planning on finishing today. This book is so beautiful. Every time I pick it up, I want to read all of it in one sitting, but I just can't because it is so emotional and it's so heavy, and I think that's really important. I think it's a very important story and a very important book, but just know that it is difficult to get through. It will take you time, it will take energy, but I think it is absolutely beautiful. The writing for a debut especially is incredible. I'm really impressed with Robert Jones Jr.'s writing style and his ability to develop characters, and I just think it's really great. The Prophets is about 2 men that are in love and are living on a plantation in the South during the Civil War, or right before the Civil War, and it just sort of follows their lives on the plantation and the way that the people on the plantation around them sort of react to their situation and their life, and it is so touching and so beautiful, and I know I'm gonna cry when I finish it later today because it's just harrowing. It's truly harrowing. I'm sitting right in between a 4 and a 5 right now on this. I'm not sure what star rating I'm gonna give it quite yet because I haven't quite finished it, but I did want to discuss it in this video. And those are the books that I read in the month of January. I know this is a shorter video because obviously there wasn't a ton of them, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed seeing the books that I started the year off with, and I will see you guys with another video soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!